In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always. Welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth. Of course, I am the host or the gatekeeper of this internet ministry. On YouTube, I am known as the mighty AngelsnupnupSEVEN, your brother and hopefully your friend Taalik Ibn'rad. I hope you enjoy the video that follows this introduction. Again, peace forever and always, and respect you.
Hey YouTube, it's your girl Sexy Sci-Fi. I want to do this quick video to talk about welfare and drug testing. State of Kansas City is trying to pass a law where if you are a welfare recipient, then you will have to be tested for drug use, or risk losing your benefits. Tell me what you guys think. I don't know, I was just thinking, yeah, you know, if you're a crackhead and stuff, your drugs will go toward, your money will go towards drugs instead of, you know, taking care of your children while you're on welfare. Yeah, and people sell their food stamps in order to get that drug money. But I was thinking, like, in states that does not recognize marijuana as a medical need for those who have cancer or HIV, like for an example, Texas doesn't recognize marijuana use as medical. So if you get tested positive for smoking weed, that means you're at a risk of losing your welfare benefits. And I just think that's, like, in that aspect, it's not fair. I can understand, you know, being a heroin addict, smoke crack, using crystal, things like that. But I just think a lot of, you know, people will be out of luck if they smoke marijuana and get tested positive for drugs and lose their welfare benefits, especially if they're using it for medical use. I know if they're in the state of California, they're trying to pass that law statewide, so that wouldn't be an issue. But Kansas City is trying to really push this, and if they push it, then you have similar states that's going to try to do the same thing. So I'm just wondering, how do you guys, you know, feel about this? Do you think this is a good idea or not? And if you think it is a good idea, I also want you to consider that if you just smoke weed for medical use, do you still see it the same way? You know, especially if you don't belong in the state of California. I know some of you guys are going to say, well, you know, some people smoke it for enjoyment. That's true, but some people smoke it to calm their nerves. That could still be medical. You just never know. But I don't see nothing wrong with it except for that part, you know. But I'm pretty sure they're not going to specify what drugs will be okay. I just think if it's not the state law for, like, Texas, for you to smoke marijuana and not get in trouble, I think you'll get kicked off of welfare if they find any trace of that, you know, in your system. So, and also another point is, it's going to cost the state more money to test people that are high, because I think this is for every recipient that's going to be on welfare. You have to be tested if this law passed. Just think of how much money is going to be put out there, you know, if this law passed. I mean, I don't know. I see both sides of it, but I don't think it's a good idea now that I think about it. But you guys tell me what you think, and hopefully maybe you guys can do some video response and go into more detail about it. Okay, thank you. Peace.
In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always. I am the AngelsnupnupSEVEN on YouTube, and welcome once again to another edition of the Realities Temple on Earth. I am your host, your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this particular subject, presented by my sister, London, Canada, welfare and drug testing. It is the duty of any government or leadership of persons in organized society in this modern time, and even prior to this time, it is the duty of government to help its citizens. The development of government assistance originally was designed to help those in society who are unfortunate. Those of whom, no matter how hard they try, they suffer from economic hardship. Those of whom we call poor. I am poor. I just wanted to let y'all know. The government presents to the citizens of its nation government assistance to help those who are senior citizens, those who are incapable or have a very severe problem with taking care of themselves due to mental impairment, due to physical impairment, due to age. Also, government assistance was designed to help those women, because prior to this modern day era, women were prejudiced, discriminated against, made biased, so they became dependent basically on some man or husband to take care of them. And when that husband or that man left them, or they became deceased, then government steps in, because the woman, because she has known only to be a housewife or a caretaker for her own personal children, she lacks the skills in order to provide a decent living for her and her children. So also during the Great Depression, Franklin Roosevelt in the New Deal created programs to help those who were suffering due to extreme high unemployment. So in these things, government is doing its duty to the citizens. However, as time passes, you have those who abuse such programs, and you have government that does not know when to stop. And now they have created a system that for a certain population of the citizenship of this nation have now become dependent on these programs, regardless if they can work or not. And then there are those who are fake. There are those who are fraud. It is not the purpose of government, and it should not be the intent of government to support a woman who has children out of wedlock intentionally and support the sexual habits of rogue men and take care of their children. Nor should it be the place of government to take care of children of whom the parents have no responsibility for their sexual actions. That's not the purpose of government assistance. It is not the purpose of government assistance to pay for your drug habits. Because, of course, as you know, many of these persons take money. The purpose or the intent was to help take care of these fatherless children and to help women who do not have the skills in order to make sufficient living to take care of these children who became fatherless. And they use these funds for drugs. They use these funds to take care of other males who have the capability to earn a living. They use these funds to support their smoking habit and their drinking. This is not the intent of government assistance. The question arises that now lawmakers suggest that those who are on government assistance now be required to take drug tests. There is nothing wrong with government suggesting to us or being a requirement that we take drug tests. Unless you are a drug user, unless you are an alcoholic abuser, unless you fall into criteria of which the government assistance was not designed for, you should not have a problem. But of course, there is a consequence because we have developed, or government has allowed, a system that people now have innocent children on the rolls. So these children will be affected by parents who are drug users, but now the assistance will be taken away from the children. There are a lot of other consequences. But perhaps this hardship must be done. Now, if government is fair, if government is just, not due to their current economic crisis, they would require drug testing within the next 5 years. If you're not off drugs, if you're still a smoker or a drinker or whatever, then that's on you. We're telling you that if you are doing these things, then you will be cut off. And people must be given sufficient warning because government have allowed people to abuse government assistance. And it does not matter if the result is people becoming criminals. It does not matter because we have the privatization of jails. We have the privatization of prisons. Whenever you or I accept government assistance, then we become dependent upon government. And when you become dependent upon anybody, it could even be a family member of whom you rely on, then you can be controlled by them. Let me say that again. If you are under government assistance, then you can be controlled. And then you must do, if you want to continue in that lifestyle, then you fall under the criteria or the rules of those who control your substance or that which requires or helps you to survive in this life. So I believe, in my opinion, we should make those on government assistance unless they actually fall. And then, like I say, there are many of those I see every day that brag about there is nothing wrong with them physically. They can work. They're not required to do nothing. So since they are not required to do nothing, then this system of dependence goes on and on and on. And government does their citizens an injustice because instead of being a productive people, their citizenship, they become a burden to those who do work, those who are productive. In fact, they are become a burden to the government itself. I'm going to go ahead and make a part 2 because I'm not actually finished. So y'all just hold on. Hold on a second. Be right back. Alrighty then. This is part 2. Okay. Some people may view this as an attack on the poor. And you are correct in many ways. You see, prior to this economic crisis, as long as this nation is doing pretty well, nobody cares about those on government assistance, really, because everybody basically, or a vast majority of people, are living pretty comfortable. But now, the states are hurting. Local governments are hurting. We are still in a deep financial economic crisis. And when there is an economic crisis, or when a nation begins to have problems, they need to find somebody to place blame. They need to find somebody to place attention on. So they turn their attention to the poor, or they turn their attention to black people. And in this instance, or in this case, it's a little bit of the two, because in the minds of racist Caucasian people, they believe that the vast majority of people on welfare, and even in 2010, they still believe the lie that it is a bunch of black people. But clearly, they have never visited a welfare office. They have never visited or went down to these unemployment offices. Apparently, they really are victims of a biased media system. So when they believe clearly that white people don't get drunk, they don't believe that white people do drugs, they live in a state of delusion. It is a war on the poor. This is government fault. This is government incompetence. Welfare or government assistance is just what it tells us. It is to assist us if we are elderly, we cannot help ourselves, it is to assist. If we have members of our society who are mentally retarded, physically handicapped, it is to assist them surviving in life. It is to assist that woman of whom was left alone to care for children when she was probably married, trying to do the right thing, but due to divorce or due to her husband becoming deceased. So it was meant for those things. It was not meant to help people buy drugs, smoking habits. But you see this all the time. Government, this is government fault. And so now, those who have become dependent, in fact, generations of people have grown up on government assistance. And now it's coming to the time where welfare, we must say farewell to welfare. Just because you are poor does not mean you cannot work. Welfare does not require us to work. People lay on their asses day in and day out. Then they're supposed to take care of the children. And if you got time to lay on your ass day in and day out, then there is no reason why these people are not watching their children, making sure they're getting an education, making sure that their children are raised properly. But you don't see that. It is time for this system of government welfare. We say farewell to it. It will be a benefit not only to black people, but all of the citizens of America. So even though it seems cruel, and the way they do it seems cruel, it is necessary. It is necessary. And like a brother made a comment, if we continue to make welfare uncomfortable, anarchy will bust out. Slowly but surely, the reason why you have an increase in militia groups and patriotic groups is because, to their understanding, America is becoming a military, how you say that? A military state. Slowly but surely, the rights of the citizens under the Constitution are being whittled away anyway. So, even though it may seem cruel, it is necessary, and really it is best, especially for us as black people, because we have been dependent on too many things, government assistance, and white folks in general, for over 300 years. It is now time to cut the umbilical cord and go on our own. That's why you throw your children out of the house. That's why you say, I can't wait to get those children when they become 18 so they can go to college, so they can do their own thing, because you want your children to be independent of you and not dependent on you. So as the citizens should be independent of their government. But if the citizens, for some reason, suffer hardship, then yes, we should receive economic assistance. But that is not the case. We have people who are making a living and becoming dependent. And when you become dependent, you become controlled. So, government has no problem with throwing you in jail. What were these people doing prior to government welfare? How were they surviving? Many were surviving because they were forced to work. And there's nothing wrong with working and being independent. What man, or back in the day, a man was ashamed to say he was getting government assistance. Now, it's a happy thing. And you wonder why your males or your men are in the shape that they are in. We should be happy to get those who really don't deserve government assistance. Make it hell for them to be on. Get them off. Your society will be better. The children will be better because the men will be forced to take care of their children. Government should not be taking care of your babies. And as a man, you should be proud to take care of the product of your loin. So yes, it is heartbreaking. And some may find it unjust, the way that the government is doing it. But the time has come for white people and black people to stop being dependent on government assistance. Because government assistance, anybody that can assist you like that, controls you. All of us should be in a position where we don't want to be and should not be controlled. And being controlled means you can also be exploited. And we are, day in and day out. Exploited by government, the media, and other sources. So this should not be a day of sadness. We should rejoice because those who were dependent are now being sent on a direction of independence, which is good for them as an individual and good for the nation. And we as black people in this country, we really need to be turned toward independence. Thank you for listening. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. Peace forever. And jot down your comments. Peace forever and always. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. And welcome once again to another exciting edition of, check out these graphics, the Realities Temple on Earth. And of course, I am your host, Brother Taalik Ibn'rad. I want to say very quickly that due to technical difficulties beyond my control, that from this day forward, and I'll let you know as time progresses, in that I'm having technical difficulties with my main computer, so in order to post videos like this one here, I have to, of course, go to a different computer. The main computer that I'm using is so old, it's not able to accept new software and updates. So as soon as I get that straightened out, we be back in business. Until then, just please be patient with me. When I'll be able to answer any emails and comments as other machines are made available to me. With that said, let's get into this disco. In this disco. Woo! One of the worst things I have ever seen in a long time. I was watching the news coming from out of Detroit, Michigan. The government was giving financial help to the suffering masses. Enough assistance for 3,500 persons or families. But it was reported that close to 50,000, from 35,000 to 50,000 people came to apply for that assistance that was only, they only thought they were giving to 3,500 persons. For me, I don't know about you. As an American citizen, if I was the president, if I was a senator, if I was in any person in leadership position in this country, I would feel great shame that my citizens are lining up for financial help like this. Now, some of you out there are racist against black people because in Detroit, that scene was nothing. I didn't see no white faces. White people don't live in Detroit. But anyway, it was basically black people in these lines, and there was fighting, and it reminds you of some of these countries when these care workers come and they throw that old mush and people be fighting over rice and beans. It almost reminded me of that. People pushing and shoving. But here you are. Here we are. Supposed to be living in the wealthiest and the greatest nation in the world, and you got our citizens in the street scuffing around, some of them beginning to behave like savages because of this economic crisis. Some may not care because it was black people, but I can guarantee you all over this nation, this scene will be repeated, especially when you go into talk about the more rural areas of the nation, and black people don't live in the rural areas of the nation. Those are basically Caucasian people. I know because as a truck driver, I travel all over this country, and I know that they depend on some of these factories. And these factories have been closing down. So this reality of how harsh this economic recession is becoming more grave. But this country, talking about health care, who's going to pay for health care when your people don't have
no substance. You're talking about Afghanistan. And should we or should we not continue the war? How are you going to justify fighting a war and paying for a war in Afghanistan and your people are hungry, Barack Obama? Your people are hungry, Joe Wilson. Your people are hungry, Nancy Pelosi. Your priorities is messed up, but maybe to us your priorities is messed up. But to you, you're right on time because, see, this goes to show us that your leadership does not care about its citizens. They have a different agenda. Why is Iraq so, not Iraq, but why is Afghanistan so important? Every time you see pictures of Afghanistan and even Iraq, ain't nothing but a bunch of desert and cactus. What's important about these places? You won't really tell the people, you give the excuse, terrorism. That's your excuse for wanting to spend money and keep troops in Afghanistan and Iraq. You claim terrorism. But see, if the American people were smart, they would know and stop trusting their government because they are proven liars. And this is not the first time people in America have been poor and hungry for a long time, and you got the nerve to talk about Africa and some other. But see, let me tell y'all something about racist Caucasian European peoples. Here you are, you got people starving and catching hell in America, and I love Africa, and I love human beings, but how the hell can we feed other people around the world when you got people in America that's starving? You got people in America that's homeless. Hell, you even got dogs that's getting kicked out the house because the people can't afford a dog no more, and they kick the dog out the house. So now you got a stray problem. All kinds of stray animals running around. Then they become wild and savage, and they end up killing people. Y'all need to question your leaders. You need to question the government. I would tell you truthfully, you need to get rid of Barack Obama. Some of y'all clapping, yay! Not just Barack Obama. You need to get rid of all the Supreme Court. You need to get rid of all of the House of Representatives. You need to get rid of all the Senate. You need to start all over again from scratch because they all don't have your best interests at heart. It's impossible to live in the wealthiest nation in the world and you got people on the streets and citizens starving to death. But they got enough money to give to other nations and spend foolishly on projects that don't mean nothing. You got an economic stimulus package, 2 of them been passed, and your people are in this condition. That should tell us something. The people don't want no welfare. They don't want no unemployment. They want jobs. They want to make their own way. They want to be able to be secure in themselves. But that's not what is happening. If it continues on this path, when people become hungry, when they become ragged and out of doors, not just the homelessness and the suffering of the last few decades, pretty soon it's going to get to a point where something got to give. And you will see in the street that the priority will only be the war in Afghanistan. You will have National Guard and soldiers here in America killing his own citizens because the own citizens are suffering and they're hungry. And if your person is hungry and suffering, then he got to do what he got to do to survive. We should not wait for it to get to that point. But then, I guess, whatever be will be. Sometimes, like they say, my mother always said, a soft, hard head makes a soft ass makes a hard head. Y'all know what I'm saying. We should learn by now. But sometimes some of us got to learn the hard way. And that's what it looks like it's going to be. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. Drop down your comments. This was and is the Reality's Temple on Earth. Peace, y'all. Peace.
In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always. Welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth. I am your host, your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. What inspires this video? Excuse me, every time the glare from this computer hurts my eyes, so bear with me, please. What inspires this video is a comment made by one of my favorite viewers and subscribers. And the comment that was made on my page was something to the effect, they were saying that when I get successful, I'll do this and I'll do that. And when I seen the comment, it made my heart drop, because many of us believe that success is material wealth. That is a part of success. There's nothing wrong with you using your talent, and as a result of that talent, you become successful and you gain material things. So now you were once dirt poor. Now you have a grand house. You have a car to drive for every day of the week. You have a yacht. You ride around in limousine. Your face is on magazine covers. That is wonderful. I would never tell nobody not to seek that type of success, because that's just a consequence, or just the result of you sharing a talent with people, and the people support that talent and you are awarded. That shows a certain success. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's wonderful. That's some success. But what's the sense of being successful in gaining material things when it brings you another set of problems? Just like the notorious B.I.G. used to say, the more money, more problems. Because now with your success, people begin to hang around you. You don't know whether they like you or they are after a piece of your success. And just because you are successful in something that can gain you material things does not mean that you are successful in all the avenues that make up life. Your money, your success, sometimes can make the path of life a little easier, because you don't have to worry about certain physical needs like paying the phone bill, paying the electric bill, the water bill, electric bill, and things of that nature. You can go eat in any restaurant that you feel. That's wonderful. But you have so many successful people. One of our sisters that I admire, and I love her music, Whitney Houston. You will say that she is successful. But look what happened to our poor little sister. She became a dope addict. But it makes you wonder. Here's Whitney Houston, great singer, known all around the world, international entertainer, but she ended up, and she was smiling and happy to tell how she became a dope fiend. She said, look, I don't buy the cheap drugs, because we know Whitney got money. She said, I buy the high price stuff. It don't make no difference, Whitney. You're a dope fiend. But she's successful. So it hurt me to see a comment like this, because this person probably believes, well, I don't have nothing of material things. But you don't know how wonderful you are. You might not have no money. You can get that. Maybe not the type of money that Whitney Houston, as long as you are willing to work a little. Strive and motivate yourself towards some goal. You will get your reward. You'll get your money. But see, you are successful. Because I know if you come to the Realities Temple and you've been listening to these words, you are more successful than most, because majority of the masses of the people are locked down in some kind of slavery teaching. Your mind is open. Your mind is free. Your mind is not like theirs. There are many of those who think they are free. But if you are loyal to some political system, some religious system, loyal to some individual that's out here, maybe loyal to what your mom and daddy said, then you are their slave. Voluntary slave. Your success, when you strive and you're able to gain those material things, you'll be able to handle yourself better because you are a free thinker. So the chances of you being successful like our sister Whitney Houston and becoming a dope fiend is almost null and void, because your mentality is different. Your mentality is different than Whitney Houston. And since your mind is free, then you're more prone to view things in a more realistic manner and be more cautious. Not only for those who want to prey on your success, but your own personal choices in life in order so that you can live better and have a successful life. Not a successful, see, Whitney Houston was successful in music and in singing, but in her own personal life, she had failures. Look at the kind of man that she decided to marry. Look what she decided to do for herself with drug use. And if somebody decides to use drugs, there's something there that they're missing, that they think that the drugs can accommodate and make them feel better. So don't never put yourself down because you don't have a brand new 2010 car, because you don't have these material things. That's not what makes us successful. Because what's the sense of having all these things and we're stupid and dumb? So here we are, we rich. And look at this. How many rich, successful people, they commit suicide. They suffer divorce. They dope things. All kinds of tragedy. Because that's not real success. Real success is the ability to think for yourself and understand, using your brain so your brain can help you solve these little problems in life. We don't use our brain. We're waiting for Dr. Phil, Dr. R, some doctor, some preacher, some reverend to come help us, some counselor. And all these people, when you look at their lives, they can't do nothing for their damn self. So if they can't do nothing for their damn self, what do you think they're doing for you? Here's a doctor, they know so much about health, but they don't live no longer than you do, but they got more knowledge about health and all that kind of stuff. That should tell you something. It is better. And that's why I stress so much. I hope when you come here to get us on a path to think for ourselves, I don't want you dependent on me. I want your success to be based on you, not based on me, on any outside influence. Because the same brain that you got, or that I have, or Dr. Phil, or any of these suckers that think they know so much, the same brain that they got, you and me have the same ability. Don't put yourself down, never. Work a little harder, study, understand, but never put yourself down like you're not successful, like you're nothing. Because you're just as great as any other human being that's been put on this planet. Matter of fact, you might be greater because you think for yourself and they nothing but slave. And that's why they fall. Success, but they go out looking like food. Time is out. Jot down your comments. This was the Reality Temple on Earth.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? What it do, what it is. It's your boy Mel back again. And I'm sorry for my absence, but my webcam on my laptop has just totally just doing its own thing, not functioning, so I had to resort in using my digital camera, which luckily I have a micro SD card that has like over 2 gigabytes on it, so I'm luckily able to do it this way. I didn't think about it until like just now. Alright, so I came to you today to talk about something that's very important to me, as it should be important to you because it affects all of us, alright? People on welfare and on food stamps, because if you're working, you're paying the bill, alright? So I feel that this is very, very, very important to anybody who's a taxpayer, let me say that, alright? So last night I was watching the news, which I rarely do, but I'm really glad that I caught the news last night. They are starting in Georgia, which I hope they do this throughout the United States, because this would be a very, very good thing to me. That people who are on government assistance or state assistance, as far as, you know, Section 8 and welfare, and also I think they're doing it for unemployment. That's right, unemployment benefits also. So if you're getting unemployment benefits, or if you're getting, you know, Section 8, welfare, food stamps and stuff like that, they're going to start drug testing these people. Now, I, for one, said hell yeah. You know, some people are not going to agree with it. Some people are going to be like, oh, that's, you know, targeting. I don't give a fuck. If you are on assistance using up my tax dollars for your fucking benefit, you should be fucking clean. To me, you shouldn't even be drinking alcohol. Your ass needs to be working. So if you are on Section 8, if you are getting welfare checks and shit, if you are getting food stamps, and especially if you're on unemployment, because clearly you need to be out looking for a damn job. You don't need to be at home fucking smoking weed off my money. You know, that's just my opinion. So I want to get your opinion on if you think this is right or not. Because in my opinion, I said hell yeah, it's about time. America should have been doing this system. We shouldn't wait until we're in a freaking recession or almost depression to have, you know, just a brainstorm and think, oh wow, we should be testing the motherfuckers who are not working or on welfare, using up the taxpayers' dollars to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You have an obligation, if you're withdrawing benefits to us, to be, you know, to get off of that shit. That is not supposed to be long term. You have people who are on welfare and on food stamps for the entire time that they're able to just freaking withdraw it. And half the time people really don't want to go get a job or anything because they feel I'm getting a free check anyway, so this is my time to take a vacation. Fuck no! If you are on welfare and if you're on Section 8 you have an obligation to America's people, to freaking better yourself. That is not meant to be some type of long-term, enabling factor for you to just sit on your ass and watch Jerry Springer. I say Jerry Springer because I'm watching Jerry Springer, but I have a job. I can do that. I can watch Jerry Springer when I freaking want to. But if you're at home on government assistance, get up off your fat, lazy ass, your fat, weed-smoking, Crown Royal drinking ass, and go find a job. That's my opinion. Now, this is another kicker to that. One of the stipulations to it is that they have to pay, the drug testing is $25, for the drug testing or not. I applauded them also with this, that we're not coming out of our pockets as far as the taxpayers. The people who are going to get drug tested have to come out of their pocket for it. Bravo. How do you say? Strong J. I was cheering last night because I thought, hell yeah, we don't have to pay for the drug testing, and here's the part B to that. If they fail the drug testing, then they get automatically taken off the assistance. You are kicked out of the system. You're on your own. Bravo. Part C to that. If they refuse to take the drug testing, not only do you get kicked out, you're actually kicked off that day. They don't play that. Like, I'm so happy they doing this. So they don't give them the option to say no, which I applaud, because you shouldn't fucking have any say so in drug testing if you living off us. We need to test your ass to see what you're doing to make sure you're not sitting up or using and abusing the system. That's the way I feel about it. So I feel that this is a perfect system to put into order to have America going in the right direction, to show that people are not, we're not trying to help enable lazy ass people, because there's people who out there who really need the assistance, who can't get off of it because look, Bonquisha and them and Mary Sue and them over here with 15 kids decide to lay on their back and have like 15 kids and put it on us. That's not our fucking fault that you're a hoe. Okay, if you not a hoe on somebody's W-2, therefore you are wrong and you need to go out and get a real job. Okay, just because you walking up a hoe stroll don't mean that you getting paid legitimate money. If you're not getting a W-2 at the end of the year, like the rest of us, guess what? You just a hoe, okay? Point blank. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I don't know what you want me to do. I'm just keeping it real. Don't get mad at me for keeping it real. Alright, so until my laptop gets fixed, I will be recording from here, but hopefully this will be a good enough quality for me to be able to make videos, because that way I'll be able to make more videos instead of trying to wait till my laptop gets done, because I fixed it once, which was the video I did last time, and then all of a sudden it just quit working again. I don't freaking know what's up with my computer, but I will keep you updated on what's going on, because there are a lot of things going on with me right now, and I hope everyone is well. Be cool, empower yourselves. Please keep the negativity out of your life. And guess what? It's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, bye, bye, bye. It's time to say goodbye. Oh, bye, 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 bye.
In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always. Welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth. I am your host, your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. And if you don't know by now, I am the AngelsnupnupSEVEN on YouTube. One of the most disliked folks on this media. But at the same time, clearly and apparently, I am also well-liked. So, y'all haters, just keep hating. Now, our time always expires quickly, so let me go ahead and try to make my point and say what I need to say within this brief time frame. Contrary to popular belief, the Reality's Temple, AngelsnupnupSEVEN, does not like to see human beings suffer, no matter what their color is.
So for those of you who call AngelsnupnupSEVEN a black supremacist or some black racist, you have more problems with your accusation, because I don't like to see injustice done to anybody. When I was locked up and I saw white people, Caucasian people being done wrong, and even those doctors and anybody in that facility would tell you, I stood up for their rights as a human being. Color means nothing. Dr. King said, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. I don't want to see nobody suffer, because if that person is suffering, it's a possibility that I could be next. What makes you think that you are above and beyond being poor, destitute? Some of you, because of this economic crisis, you went from being a something to a nothing. You've been on jobs for 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden, nothing. Do you really believe that if your leadership, which is the Congress, the president, all these people are millionaires, do you really believe their top priority is bringing relief to the poor, the disfranchised? Do you really believe that? When people are comfortable like your rich leadership is, they don't give a damn about your suffering. That's why they trip on that's why they tripping with unemployment benefits. That's why they trip and can play around. When you are starving, when you are hurting, if you get a cut on your arm, you want immediate relief from that pain. When you are starving, when you are suffering, you need immediate relief. But when you're dealing with those who are comfortable, well, my arm not cut, I pay my bills. When you're dealing with those type of attitudes, then the poor, you really don't know what to do. You're in a bad situation. But at the same time, the president, who is a millionaire, the Congress, who are millionaires, and a lot of these other folks out here who are living comfortable, they'll turn around with their happy and hypocrite ass and talk about how they love humanity, how much they care. But you don't see it in their actions, because the reality is they don't care. I don't mind speaking in behalf of the poor, the downtrodden, those people of whom folks look at and turn their nose up at. I don't mind speaking for the hurt and the pain and injustice of those who suffer wrongdoing. And I don't care about your color. And I've proven that in real life, not on no YouTube video. There are many Caucasian men and women that can tell you, and they can bear witness, that Brother Taalik stands for everybody. So what you talking about don't mean nothing to me, because I know who and what I am. But I want to say this to us before my time runs out. Just because you poor, just because you destitute and disfranchised, doesn't mean you don't have responsibility. How can you say that you poor and you buy your children $200 Michael Jordan shoes? You take your food stamps, and instead of trying to use your food stamps in the most efficient way, you just blowing it like you got money to blow. Because even though we're poor, even though some of us in bad shape, we're benefiting from some of these social programs. And of course, we're going to abuse. Poor people have a responsibility. If you poor and you make it a claim that you poor, how can you buy these tickets to go see millionaire baseball players on the field, but you poor? But y'all do it. You so poor, but it's mighty funny that you can buy your drugs. Oh yeah, You sell your food stamps. And with your food stamp money, y'all buy liquor and beer and cigarettes. And then you claim being poor because you have abused the little assistance that you're getting. And then the children don't benefit. And you deny those children. And then we, who don't know what you really been doing, we look at the children and say, oh, look at the poor child. They don't have no shoes. They don't have nothing to eat. But also at the same time, see, I know for a fact, because I was raised in it, I watched people on welfare abuse their assistance. And if you look in a little bit, stand around some of these liquor stores and stand around some of these mom and pop places, and you'll see that they will accept these EBT cards, these food stamp cards, and will give you cigarettes and condoms and all these other different things. Food stamps, this welfare is to assist you while you're doing bad. But you got a lot of people that abuse the assistance. I don't blame white folks when they get angry and upset, because we do have affirmative action. We do have some of these different programs set up for black folks so that we can better ourselves. They are not the greatest. They really wasn't designed to really help us as a whole people. But we need to take advantage of those. I was watching a video by Brother T-Mont about a program that give our children an opportunity to experience college life. And you spend a week on the college campus, I believe, and you get to experience college life. Set up, I guess, to benefit minorities or black people. They got 25 slots to fill. And they still had 2 slots left or whatever. There should be long lines of black children trying to be part of this program. Then next thing you know, you're on TV. Oh, I so poor. The injustice. Nobody told you to get drunk and create a public disturbance and take your ass to jail. We do stupid and silly things. So I choose my battles. I don't support idiots. But for those of us who are serious, who really want to take opportunity and really try to make something out of ourselves, those are the people of whom I support. Those are the people of whom I speak for. Poor people also have responsibility. You have a responsibility to make proper choices in your life. We as a people, don't get angry and upset when somebody tells us that we are supposed to make the best choices and take responsibilities for ourselves. Responsibility. I'm sort of tongue-tied. Excuse me. It's still sort of hot, and I got a slight little headache. But I wanted to make this video because the message came to me. So poor people, we have responsibility too. That's all I wanted to bring out, because I'm pretty sure y'all was thinking the same thing. I don't make excuses for us, because making excuses won't make us better. Sometimes we got to get kicked in the ass to do better. Sometimes we got to get talked about like a dog to do better. And do you know, in the reality, some of us just don't want to do better. But for those of us who do want to do better, then let us join together and let us do what we know that we can and want to do. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. This was and is the Reality's Temple on Earth.
This is a video response to a video about a measure put through by Republican member Craig Blair of West Virginia, House of Delegates. And it's about drug testing for welfare recipients. I know this may come as a shock to a lot of you, but I'm for this measure. I think that it's totally reasonable to expect people that are taking government subsidies to get drug testing, so we can make sure that these people are not high, that they're rational, frame of mind. And I support it. Actually, I put the link to Mr. Blair's email and his website on the side. So I think that you should, fill out and show your support for this measure. The only question that I have for Mr. Blair is, where will the drug testing take place? Because I want to make sure that I have my camera there, and the press is there, so they can see Citigroup, Bank of America, AIG, and the automaker executives getting drug tested. Because I think that this is going to be a phenomenal event and an historical one in American history. So that's my only question. Where will the bank executives be tested for drugs? Because I'm in New York, so if you can let me know where they're going to be tested, I would love to get my video camera and go down there and document this, and so we can put it in a time capsule, and so we can really know that this government is really serious about holding people accountable. I applaud you, Mr. Craig, and I'm just, I know that you're going to get a lot of resistance from the bankers, but I'm quite sure that in the end, the government will make the bankers do the right thing. I mean, they've been doing such a bang-up job in making sure they're doing the right thing now. So, bravo to you, sir. And people, make sure that you contact this man and let him know exactly how you feel, and tell him that you show your support for this measure. Peace.
Why is it every time something comes on that relates to some people who are of a lower income receives any kind of funds or get any kind of help, because normally they can never get it because they're just discriminated against so badly? And this is across the board, no matter what race you are. If you're not educated under the strict prejudice decisions that different employers make, or if you don't have the progressive sense that a lot of people utilize to make money off of you, then you end up not being able to get a real good job that can help you survive. And so when you apply and qualify for a disability or public aid or whatever you get, then all of a sudden you have radicals getting on here talking about how you're getting free something and how dare somebody help you, support you, or treat you right, or how dare you, being on a public aid status, be treated like you're not worthy to be acknowledged or respected. How dare people who have things to give people who don't have anything do anything, but yet saving the whales, saving some silverback gorilla in the motherland is more important than saving lives and people who need help. If a stronger nation go into a nation and steal their money, steal their women and children, defecate on their land that they can't even grow anything, make their water into blood, then they're poor for a reason. In this society, over 400 years of physical and mental and outseen forms of slavery against people of ethnic groups, especially people of darker skin, known as people of color, have been terrorized in this society with that type of energy. But nevertheless, no one seems to acknowledge it that are of Europeans who are coming on here debating and hollering and screaming at the top of their lungs how us ethnic people are so bad, and Mexicans coming over the border and all this other radical behavior talking they doing, acknowledge or even care to admit that they have wronged people and the chicken is coming back home, as they say, to roost. So I just find it very immature of you belligerent skin monkeys to come on here saying things like that, when in fact you are the cause of most poor and tragedies in the society that they have them problems because of the government officials who are thieves and whoremongers and liars and cheaters and manipulators, because the system is so prejudiced against any other race of people who are real or fair that they oust them and keep them out. You know, the amount of paper one has to fill out to even get public aid is like filling out 3 or 4 different job applications, taking the SAT score, and then going down and have your brain put on, hooked up to some kind of wires to observe your monitoring thoughts. That's how intense they do when it comes to filling out paper in the so-called ethnic people community. I don't know about the Caucasian community, but I do observe how it is in any metropolitan city that I visit and observe as an activist. Now, when it comes to other races, they have their own story to tell. I can only tell it from what I see. That's why I think it's appalling that you skid monkeys get on here and attack people who are getting public assistance or any type of assistance from the government. You wouldn't be getting it if you didn't qualify. And that's fact. And those who don't get it, well, apparently you're making enough money that you don't need it. So get over it. Get a non-profit if you want some money so damn bad free. And stop complaining about every other race and groups of people who get it, especially when they can't really get anything else in this society. You got foreign people coming over to this land getting more grants and more things than people of color could get here, and they was born here through their forefathers being a slave. I don't hear you talking about what's next on that. Okay? I don't hear you talking about how men of color are being targeted to go to jail all the time, even if they never done nothing, no kind of criminal anything, but they're subject to go to jail and get charges trumped up on them. Now you can sit here and say, well, oh, that's not true, and that's you're falsifying information, but nevertheless, it's fact, okay? Anything that deals with a person of color is blown out of proportion all the time. How you gonna stereotype? I don't drink beer. I don't smoke no damn weed. I don't have my pants hanging off my ass. I'm not a rapist, a pedophile. I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not a killer of children, women, or men. I've never broke or robbed a bank. I've never stole no fucking car. I never broke into nobody's house and stole their jewelry. I never raped no fucking Caucasian woman. I never did any kind of shit that they perpetuate out here. But I'm a criminal because if I get in a fight with one of my children's mother in that stereotype situation, and she chooses not to want me to see my child anymore, so she trump up charges saying, well, I'm scared of him, I'm terrified of him, and I need a stay away order, or I need to keep away from this person, I need to make sure that he don't be around the children because he could steal and go to Africa, although he spent 40 years of his life here in America, and I'm not sure if he even have a passport, and or he could escape to another state called Hawaii, and so based on that reason alone, I'm going to stereotype him into being this cruel and unreasonable person who tried to hit his child with a shoe 6 or 7 months ago, and that's the reason why we should abuse this guy and keep him away from his children. And then I become a criminal behind that, or I'm a absentee father, or I'm a deadbeat dad. See, these are the things I'm talking about. If you're going to talk about something, talk about the fairness of people of races who don't get the proper treatment. Talk about the unfairness of this system that continues to defecate on us on a continuous basis. Talk about that Wrong Way Wilson who just got on here and hollered out liar, but yeah, he didn't get fired, but Van Jones got fired, although he's honest and sincere, and he ain't killed, destroyed nobody, but he's under the gun. And let's look at every person who have been able to speak up. They become radical. Let me define to you Caucasian skin monkeys what a racist is. A racist is a person who tries to annihilate another group of people by killing them, destroying them, murder, death, kill, burning their civilization, burning their information, destroying everything they have, giving them diseases, and putting out major lies on them to make them look like someone should destroy them because they're a threat to society. That's a racist. What group of people do that?
Good morning. It's Friday, April 2nd. No, it's Good Friday. Last Friday before the Easter holiday. Welcome to Coffee Talk with Sean D. Just wanted to put a little video out there. Today's music is courtesy of Inner Shade. Inner Shade? What's an Inner Shade? Song is called What's in the Box. This is a side group from Incognito. Many people know about Incognito, but anyway, I put that out there, you know, so people know who it is, if they're interested in the song, blah blah blah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's Friday. You know, I'm feeling good, feeling great. The weather is outstanding. I wish I were off this weekend, but I'm working, and thank God I'm blessed for a job. Fortunate. Yeah, but I haven't done a coffee talk in a minute. A couple of people wrote me inquiring about it, so here it is. It's a good day for it. Oh wow! But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the news. A lot of controversial proposals and things. Good friend of mine, YouTube, Sexy Sci-Fi. Hey girl. Sent me a video when she talked about the proposed drug testing for welfare recipients, and it was very interesting, to say the least. You know, welfare. There are millions of people are on welfare in this country from every race: white, black, Latino, you name it. Everybody's getting welfare. Some people don't deserve welfare. They are taking advantage of the system. Yeah, a good percentage of the people receiving welfare, really, they think that it's free money. Nothing free about welfare. Us taxpayers are paying for the welfare. And they may have needed welfare at one time, but they decided to take advantage of the system, sit on their ass. They're taking advantage of it. So random drug testing for welfare recipients, I'm all for that, yes. You know, we pay taxes. In fact, our taxes are going up, you know. And for them to just take advantage, think that the government is giving them something free, or so that the government owes them something. I don't know. A lot of the welfare recipients are putting themselves in their situation and keeping themselves there. We're not giving them funds to just continue sitting on their ass, buying drugs, making more babies, and knowing that they're going to get some welfare. So they're going to stay home and make babies. You know, movies like Precious, you know, kind of glamorized it. You know, people feel it's like a feel-good story or whatever. I don't know, whatever, Precious. But yeah, random drug testing, that's what's up. Yeah, I like that. Shoot, if you're on the up and up with your welfare, you have nothing to worry about. But those people out there using their assistance for illegal drugs, liquor, blah, blah, blah. It was a good warning for you to straighten up, right? Because if you fail the drug test, apparently, but I hear they're going to take away your assistance. And if you refuse to take a drug test, you lose your assistance. So, work that out. Y'all work it out. I'm all for Americans getting welfare assistance, but I don't like Americans that abuse the system, you know, and then put the blame game out there, you know, blah, blah, blah. They did this to us. The government didn't force you to lay up with every Tom, Dick, and Harry to make all these babies and then look for some government cheese and some WIC cards, you know. These people live beyond their means. Some of them live beyond their means, and it's not right. So, you know, I don't believe that Americans should be hungry. And in this day and age, when illegal aliens are coming in and straining the system, yeah, nobody should be surprised if they're testing for drugs. So, you know, Sexy Sci-Fi brought up, well, what if this person is using marijuana for his medical needs? And look, if they're using marijuana for glaucoma, or she even said stress, I don't know how that's prescribed for stress. I can understand it, but they should have the paperwork and the documentation. But I'm all for random drug testing of welfare recipients. That's my view on it. Anybody else have any comments? Let me know. So, more coffee. Made this video real early. Sorry for my slurring. I'm still trying to knock the cobwebs out, but I got a busy day today. So I just wanted to get that out there, and I look forward to reading everyone's comments. Have a blessed Easter holiday. Great weekend, and we'll see you soon. All right, peace. One more thing I forgot to mention, since I did bring up Precious. Well, the star of the movie, Precious, is apparently not happy being a morbidly obese person. I mean, some people think that she's happy. I mean, you might see her smiling and cheesing and all that, but she signed up to be on the next season of the Celebrity Fit Club. Let's think about this. Wow. Yeah, so Precious is gonna try to shed some pounds. I think they're gonna achieve the highest ratings for that show. I wonder if it's gonna be an extended season for the Fit Club. I mean, anyway, good luck, Precious. We'll be looking at you. You know, damn. All right, y'all.
Hey, what up, everybody? I'm coming back on this video here. Somebody by the name of ETR Trooper 73 on my Van Jones video, basically when I had stated about Barack Obama having given money to La Raza and all these other ethnic background groups or people, whatever. And I basically said that he hasn't really given anything to blacks. Right away, ETR Trooper 73 actually stated, you talk about Obama not giving money to black people, but he gives it to everyone else. It's not his money to just give to you because you're black, and he's your brother, which I never said. I never said he was my brother. Last time I checked, he's not either. But he said, there is no such thing as a free lunch. Why do all the poor people want the government to give them everything? You say black people can't look at Obama's skin and think he is going to do what they want him to do. Okay, well, first and foremost, I never actually said that he should give it to blacks because he's black. Actually, sir, I believe that the black community can use that money just as much as La Raza can and the other Asian and ethnic groups that he had given money to as well. I never tried to suppose that because he is black and so are we, that he should give us money. I never tried to say that we were owed anything. even though I can make a case possibly for that. I never attempted to try and say that we are old. See, the thing with these racist, hypocritical closet idiots is that their worst nightmare is to see Obama actually caring about black people. This is their worst nightmare. And I think their worst nightmare is going to be very, very a heart-reckoning experience in his second term. But that's a whole nother video. But the fact of the matter is, guys, we have increasingly a lot of these racist bigots that are coming into our videos, especially mine, and it's like they're having total disregard to other people's backgrounds and experiences because they believe for some reason their own experience and background is relevant. No one else's experience are. And it's pretty sad. But getting back to the title of this video, basically, welfare and freeloaders, is because E.T. Trooper, whatever the fuck his name was, basically said that people are freeloaders. People who are on welfare are freeloaders. And I'm here to kind of checkmate him because, listen, ETR Trooper 73, that's not true. In order to determine who is a freeloader, it will have to take you to conduct a case-by-case basis research upon all the applicants or beneficiaries of welfare in the various different social programs that are out there. You cannot sit here and somehow suppose that because everyone is on welfare or something like that, then they are all freeloaders. That's not true. Most of these people have put money into the system, or they have parents or brothers or something that they may be connected to that is indeed putting money into the system. I think, see, but then we cannot be surprised when we look at how this country was started. We look at how the Indians welcomed people here and how the Europeans pillaged the land as they continue to do in other areas of the world, but that's another video. But the fact of the matter is we cannot be surprised oftentimes when we hear language like this, diction like this, because this land is not civilized. We're not truly built off humanitarianism. In the books, you know, on the books, we say we believe in that, but in practice, no. We supported dictators. We support cutthroat capitalism. We support some of the evilest, heinous, and harshest of motherfucking systems out there, and that ever came to be. So, in a sense, you almost cannot be surprised that he had even said something like that. But I think there's something fundamentally insane about people like ETR Trooper who actually believe poor people are the scum of the earth, and that they ought not to exist, and that their experiences is irrelevant. That's pretty damn sad coming from a Christian, I'm going to suppose he is, and from a nation that is so-called God-fearing. I mean, really, people, we have to begin to realize, you know, where the fuck do our values as a collective society actually stand when we have people that find it okay to actually say fuck the poor? Not to mention the fact that we live in a capitalistic system, which oftentimes mean and result in certain people going into bankruptcy due to, you know, for example, the health care, and due to inhumane treatments on behalf of corporations. But we don't want to acknowledge that. We don't want to acknowledge the fact that you have corporations constantly acquiring funding from government, but we don't want to call that out as corporate welfare, excuse me, even though that is exactly what it is. We don't want to talk about the billions of dollars healthcare is about to get from this bill. We don't want to talk about the banks. We don't want to talk about the million companies that for some reason always seem to get government contracts, whether it be for buildings or windows or whatever scheme they thought of. But when it comes to poor people, which is really a speckling within the budget, it becomes a huge problem. And you always seem to have people that are part of the dominant ruling group, whites, that seem to have judgment upon this. And what makes it funny is because many of them are making way less than $30,000 a year, but somehow feel as though it's okay to actually speak against their own interests. Like I said, these people are stupid, and their worst nightmare is to actually see Barack Obama uplift black people and give something to poor people. And it don't only have to just be black people. It can be poor people, period. But that is their worst nightmare, because if it happens, it is like the end of their world as they know it. And that second term, I think, is going to be something fierce. But it is what it is. These people are bigoted, they're racist, and they are extremely afraid right now. They're not in power. The demographics are changing. They're becoming the minority. I don't even know why we continue to call them the majority, but the fact of the matter is this is why. Because they still hold political capital. Until other ethnic backgrounds begin to involve themselves in the legal system and the political system, these people are going to continue to hold the power, and they're not going to give it up. They're not going to give it up. I don't care how liberal and how democratic some of the whites in Congress actually are. At the end of the day, they're not giving up their seat to make it fairer. They're not going to do that. Okay? This is why it's going to take people at the bottom to begin to educate themselves and involve themselves within those prospective fields that are going to give their community, their people, a voice at the table. But of course, you need dedicated persons to do that, not people that are going to sell the fuck out. But at the end of the day, like I said, TR Trooper, you cannot call people that are on welfare all freeloaders. That's not nice. That's inhumane. It's very doggish, I would suppose, to say something like that, especially if you consider yourself to be a civilized human being. Like I said, but when we look at the historical nature of this country and this society, it's not surprising. It's not surprising. We have to invent laws just so that people can be actually considered human beings. We have to invent laws just so that people can be treated equally. That's not civilized. But yet people in this country would look at countries like Haiti or Somalia or other countries that are so-called uncivilized, and they would actually frown upon them. Well, what do you think we have here in America? It's just well reserved. It's well covered up. But it's the same thing. If you really sat down and dissected, it's the same thing. People at the bottom, poor people don't have a voice in America. Obama and any other president has never really spoken on the poor. They always say the middle class. So poor people don't have a voice. And I think the least this country can do oftentimes is give them, give them the welfare, give them certain things. They don't, I don't suppose they ask for much. Like I said, even when you look at the welfare and social programs, they don't really account for much compared to what corporations are getting. Okay? And even if you look at the inheritance that people on the upper levels receive from those people being held down, damn sure ain't enough to get. It's damn sure ain't enough to ask for if these people just need a little bit of money to get by. If they need a little bit of money and funding to fix their communities. Because with every great accomplishment, especially when it comes to economics, comes great atrocities. That's just the bottom line. If people on the lower levels were actually given a chance to get by, man, oh man, those who are at the top now, they would have a run for their money. Bottom line, they would have a run for their motherfucking money. But I believe there is going to be an actual uprising soon where people on the lower levels are going to be basically spamming into different universities, schools and colleges and trade schools in different fields because people are becoming more and more increasingly aware that you can no longer really sit around with a 9-to-5. Can't do it. But people like TR Troop are inhumane. They believe that every and anyone who is on welfare or any type of social program are indeed lazy and a freeloader. And that's not true. That's not true because the fact of the matter is if these people actually had a chance, they may have your job, but you don't want that. You don't want to make it fair and actually equal because, like I said, no law on the book means nothing if the collective society isn't willing to enforce it. You still have police brutality and many of the same atrocities that were going on decades ago. You still have them. Why? Because as a society, we truly don't believe in enforcing the law and making it equal for everyone. We don't want that. And then the capitalistic structure is to be expected. There's no true competition in capitalism. There's no true competition. It always has to be controlled. You have to have the classism. Because the people at the top must maintain their order and their existence up there. So, of course, they don't want to make it equal for everyone. But again, these are bigots that, for the most part, their worst nightmare is for Obama to do something for poor people. This is their worst nightmare. And, you know, they hate blacks. But see, and this is for my immigrant friends, because, you know, I used to get in this conversation all the time with a couple of immigrants back in undergrad, and they used to always ask me, well, man, what is it with, you know, most black Americans? Why aren't they embracing school and everything like that? And the thing is, that's very stereotypical, because you do have a lot of African Americans that do go to school, and if not school, they get involved in trades and other ways of becoming a professional in whatever field they want to go into. But I had to actually sit down and explain to them, and I had to tell them, you have to understand the system that we have here. We have institutionalized racism. We have all types of separation agents and barrier agents that actually keep us from actually gaining power and gaining economic sufficiency. And I told him, and this is my friend from Nigeria, and I told him, I said, the reason why they allow you, people from South America, the Caribbean, and everywhere else to come here and actually benefit off of things we fought for is because you're not a threat. When they come here, 9 times out of 10, you guys kiss their asses. You believe you're in the greatest country in the world. You just the fact of being here and being allowed to actually get an education astounds you. And so you're going to be more likely to be an asset to the system than to rebel against the system. This is why you're not a threat. Now, you put a black American in there, someone who's been impacted by this system since birth, someone who has a historical root, okay, in this fucked upness of a system. Now, that's a real threat. Now, that is a real threat. And they will yell out socialism, they will yell out Hitler, they will yell out any bad name there is to try and get you out of that position. This is what happened to Van Jones. And because that person is a threat, because they've been impacted by the system, they see it. And they were an exception to the rule. So the greatest threat to the white establishment in the United States of America is actually a powerful, educated black person. And that's just the bottom line. Immigrants, you're not a threat, because you're astounded just to be here, just to have the opportunity. And most likely, you're not going to rebel against the system. Now, some of you will, but, you know, like I said, due to how this system is, due to institutionalized racism and other social constraints that are embedded within this fucked up, uncivilized society, and stereotypes being the foremost factor in that, a lot of people tend to think many times that black Americans are just lazy and whatever have you, when that's not the case. Again, in order to determine whether or not a person is a freeloader or a lazy human being is to determine that by a case-by-case basis. You cannot lump everybody in together just because you don't like the fact that they're getting help or that they need help. I like to think sometimes that we are a civilized nation or a civilized society, but we're not. And that's just the bottom line. Now, you can take what I said with a grain of salt or not, but again, it's going to take people at the lower level to gain some type of political presence, okay, and as well in the legal field, because we're being gypped superbly in the legal field, definitely, you know, definitely, meaning the criminal justice field and things related to that. So, but like I said, that's the greatest threat. And see, after this universal health care, we might be seeing universal education. Whether it is to give cheaper loans to college students or to up the Pell Grant or whatever have you, it's going to happen. And, you know, like I said, Barack is going to get his second term and Hillary is going to be in there for another 8. So you guys better ante up and get your asses ready. Because like I said, the uprising is coming. And the question you have to answer, you little bigots, predominantly from the South, is what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And that, trooper, is the bottom line, brother.
Peace forever and always. Welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth. Your host is his divine masculine brother Administrator Taalik Ibn'rad.